The Curmudgeon's Last Gift. In Medford, Oregon, children used to whisper about the haunted house on the edge of town. It stood gray and weather-beaten among dead oaks, its moss-covered roof sagging like an old man's shoulders. The man inside was no ghost, though the kids half believed he was. His name was Wesley Howard, and to generations of children, he was simply Old Man Howard, the meanest man in Jackson County. Everyone knew the stories. If you so much as set a toe on his 68-acre farm, he'd appear with a shotgun in hand, shouting and firing rock salt into the ground. Boys who once tried to cut across his fields swore their legs spun faster than bicycle wheels as they escaped. To them, he was a villain from a fairy tale, a farmer who hated children. But truth is never so simple. A life out of time. Wesley Howard was born on that very farm in 1916. His parents, Roy and Dora, raised him there. And when they died, first his mother, then his father, Wesley stayed. He never married, never moved away, never even got plumbing or a telephone. Neighbors described a man who lived by a different compass. He drank water from a hand-dug well, cooked beans and pork on a pot-bellied stove, and relieved himself in a two-hole outhouse. His wardrobe never changed, blue jeans and plaid shirts, his haircut as though he'd placed a bowl on his head and trimmed around it. Inside, his farmhouse was more museum than home. Narrow snail trails wound through rooms stacked to the ceiling, with bundled newspapers dating back a century. In the upstairs bedroom sat his childhood treasures, cast iron blocks, a slingshot, a worn leather football helmet, and baseball mitts from another age. Even his boots, worn down to paper-thin soles, were saved and shoved under the porch. Strange, yes. Lonely, perhaps. But cruel, not everyone agreed. The Mask and the Man. Neighbors Ivan and Twyla Bryant lived across from Howard for more than 40 years. They remembered a private man, shy, gruff, but not heartless. Children may have thought his house cursed, but every Halloween, if one was brave enough to knock, Howard would answer. He never gave candy, but instead offered an apple, a pencil, and sometimes, just sometimes, a crooked smile. He was harassed, Ivan Bryant explained. Kids broke his windows with golf balls, stole his peaches, and hunted quail on his land. Anyone would lose patience. The Bryants saw him daily at the mailbox, trading brief words. He told them why he had no telephone. Cost too much. Why he never married, too much trouble. Why no plumbing, so I'd never have to call a plumber. Simple answers, a simple life. The death of a recluse. In March of 2003, Wesley Howard died of a stroke at the age of 87. For most in Medford, it was the quiet end of an eccentric life. Many expected his farmhouse to rot into the ground. The land eventually sold to developers. After all, Wesley had no wife, no children, no heirs. Then the news broke. The meanest man in Medford had left behind more than $11 million. His land alone was worth over $10 million. He had bonds, savings, and antiques. Every bit of it willed to create a youth sports park. The 68 acres where he had once chased children with a shotgun would now echo with the laughter of soccer games, the crack of baseball bats, and the cheers of families. Medford gasped. Was it a Scrooge-like change of heart? One editorial wondered, or had there always been a hidden kindness beneath his gruff exterior? A town reconsiders. When Howard's possessions were auctioned, 1,200 people came. For the first time, the farmhouse doors swung open, and neighbors who had lived beside him for decades finally glimpsed the inside of his secret world. An old Daisy BB gun sold for $260. Oil lamps, butter churns, and antique toys went for astonishing sums. All the proceeds, another $70,000, went toward what would now be called the Howard Memorial Sports Park. For many, the gift reshaped memories. Jack Gundlach, once one of the boys who pelted Howard's windows, admitted he was a cantankerous old boy. We thought he just hated kids. But this changes everything. He even tried to buy the very shotgun Howard had chased him with, though he was outbid. Others felt humbled. Howard was content with who Howard was, Twyla Bryant reflected. His ways don't make sense to the modern world. and there aren't many left like him. The final word. Wealth had meant little to Wesley Howard. He could have built 400 homes on his land and doubled his fortune, but he never wanted more. Instead, he left a legacy that no one expected, a place where young people could run, play, and grow strong. Perhaps the children were wrong all along. Perhaps behind the shotgun and the scowl lived a man who loved youth. He just didn't know how to show it until the end. In life, Wesley Howard was feared. In death, he became a benefactor. And maybe, just maybe, that crooked smile he gave on Halloween wasn't the grin of a curmudgeon at all, but the hidden heart of a man who gave his millions to make children happy.
It's time to study new words in context. 1. Curmudgeon. Definition. A curmudgeon is an old or middle-aged person who is easily annoyed, grumpy or hard to please. Example, the old man at the corner store was a curmudgeon who scolded children for laughing too loudly. 2. Sagging. Definition. Sagging means bending or sinking downward because of weakness, heaviness, or lack of support. Example, the old couch had sagging cushions that made it uncomfortable to sit on. 3 boys swore their legs spun faster than bicycle. Definition, this phrase describes boys running so quickly that they claimed their legs moved even faster than the wheels of a bicycle. It is often used in a playful or exaggerated way. Example, the boys swore their legs spun faster than bicycle as they raced down the dusty road. 4. A two-hole outhouse. Definition. A two-hole outhouse is a small outdoor toilet with 2 seats, often built in rural areas before modern indoor plumbing. Example, the family's farm still had a two-hole outhouse behind the barn. 5. Gruff. Definition. Gruff describes a person's manner of speaking when it is rough, unfriendly, or short-tempered. Example, the teacher gave a gruff reply when the student interrupted the lesson. 6. A crooked smile. Definition. A crooked smile is a smile that is uneven, usually tilting more to one side, often giving a charming, shy, or mischievous look. Example, he gave her a crooked smile that made her laugh. 7. Recluse. Definition. A recluse is someone who lives alone and avoids other people or social activities. Example, the famous writer became a recluse, rarely leaving his house in the woods. 8. Eccentric. Definition. Eccentric describes someone who has unusual habits, behaviors, or ways of thinking that make them seem different from others. Example, the eccentric professor wore mismatched shoes to class every day. 9. Willard. Definition. Willard means to have made something happen by using strong determination or mental effort. Example, she willed herself to stay awake until the work was finished. 10. Gruff. Definition same as number 5, rough, unfriendly or blunt in speech or behavior. Example, his gruff tone hid the kindness he felt inside. 11. Cantankerous. Definition. Cantankerous describes someone who is often angry, complains a lot, and is difficult to get along with. Example, the cantankerous neighbor yelled whenever children played near his yard. 12. All along. Definition. All along means during the entire time, from the beginning until now. Example, she knew all along that her friend was hiding a secret. 13. Scowl. Definition. A scowl is an angry or disapproving facial expression, shown by frowning and narrowing the eyes. Example, the boy gave a scowl when he was told to clean his room.
Comprehension questions. 1. Who was Wesley Howard, and where did he live his entire life? Answer. Wesley Howard was a recluse known as Old Man Howard, and he lived his entire life on his family farm in Medford, Oregon. 2. Why did local children fear Wesley Howard? Answer. Children feared him because he often chased trespassers off his farm with a shotgun, and was known as the meanest man in Jackson County. 3. What was unusual about the way Howard lived? Answer. He lived without plumbing, a telephone, or modern conveniences. He cooked on a wood stove, drank water from a hand-dug well, and used an outhouse. 4. How did neighbors Ivan and Twyla Bryant describe Howard? Answer: they described him as a shy, private man who wasn't cruel, but often harassed by neighborhood children. 5. What small gifts did Howard give to children who knocked on his door at Halloween? Answer: he gave apples, pencils, and sometimes a crooked smile. 6. What happened to Howard in March 2003? Answer: he died of a stroke at the age of 87. 7. What surprising fact was revealed after Howard's death? Answer: it was discovered that he had left an estate worth over $11 million to build a youth sports park. 8. How large was Howard's farm, and what was it worth? Answer: his farm was 68 acres, valued at over $10 million. 9. What happened at the auction of Howard's belongings? Answer: about 1,200 people came, and items like antique toys, oil lamps, and a BB gun sold for high prices, raising another $70,000 for the sports park. 10. How did many townspeople's view of Howard change after his will was revealed? Answer: they began to see him not just as a grumpy recluse, but as a hidden benefactor who cared about children after all. 11. What lesson did some former prankster children, like Jack Gunlack, take from Howard's last gift? Answer: they regretted tormenting him and realized they had misunderstood his character, learning that appearances can be deceiving. 12. What is the main theme or message of this story? Answer: the story shows that people may hide unexpected kindness beneath a rough exterior, and true generosity can leave a lasting legacy.